Let's say you wanted your own resort. We looked at some resorts in some different parts of the world, in places such as the Cook Islands, and I think a place called Arkataki, something like that. One of the most beautiful places on the planet. And you could buy a resort, but some of these resorts actually make money. So your dream could actually make you money, so it pays for itself. Does it make sense? Some of your dreams, for instance, I used to live in Sydney, to have a dream home in Sydney on the harbour, as you can imagine in Sydney, will cost you a few bob. Is it true? On the harbour, you could spend $10 or $12 million, and some of the homes are still ugly for that. If you walk around the harbour, it's like they're all old and decrepit. It's like some of them are nice. Okay, there's a few went for sale recently, I hear, and yet for a nicer home, you can live in different parts of the world or different parts of the country for a fraction of that cost. So when you're not tied to any location where your money's generated from investing, you can live wherever you choose. You don't have to live near where you work. Therefore, you can live in an area that doesn't cost as much. For instance, I moved to a place called Noosa because I thought it was one of the most beautiful places on the entire planet I've ever been to, the most ideal place to spend at least a large part of the year. But it's also rather inexpensive compared to Sydney. Okay, so you save a lot. You can save a couple of $1 million on a nice house, which you could put towards a Learjet if you wanted to. Okay, you can live in different parts of the world. So what we want to look at is breaking it down. Okay, so turn to the page. Has everyone finished that? You haven't got your figures exact. We can add to it later. So the page after financial freedom, it says there's 5 questions there. Does everyone have it? It says, which of your dreams is really, and it's got a blank. Looks like that. It says, which of the dreams is really a must? Put that down. Is really a must for you to turn into reality. Could you say, Jamie, this is fun to work all that out, but that's not really a must for me. It's not priority. It's not something I want one day. But this is absolute must. This protection thing, if all I could accomplish is have enough cash reserves aside for a year, that it just takes that fear away, that peace of mind, hey, I would be happy with that. What age must you accomplish it? So you might say financial protection, I must accomplish that within the next 18 months. That might be a goal. Well, I must rearrange myself and accomplish that within the next 3 months. I'll give you some ideas over the weekend how you can create that quicker. Number 3, write down the amount you guessed you needed to be financially secure. So remember we started this exercise, the first page in this section, you put down when you are financially secure, independent or free, how much will it take? What figure was that? Just put it down again. So remember the first page of this exercise, you wrote down how much you guess you'd need to be financially secure, independent or free. So put that figure down again. Is anyone confused? Raise your hand if you're confused. Oh, well, only 2 of you. That's great. We're doing well. When you first started this exercise, the very first thing you put down in this exercise was, when are you financially secure, independent, or free will take you how much? Question A. You put down a figure, remember? All you're going to do is put that figure down again. That's question 3. Okay, question 4, write down the amount that is actually needed to be financially secure. So for Bill and Mary, they may have said they thought they needed $5 million in lotto to be financially secure. They do this exercise, and for them to be financially secure, they actually need $24,000 per annum. Okay, as a lump sum, they've got to work that out. So let's quickly work out on your chart a lump sum amount. And the way we're going to do this is fairly simple. If you're able to average a 10% return on your investments, then you would need 10 times that amount. Okay? So let's do it on 10%. Let's imagine you can average 10% on your investments, which by the time you finish this weekend, that will be a pretty ordinary level. That means all you do is add a 0. So 24,000 would become 24 plus a 0 become 240,000. Bill and Mary would need 240,000 lump sum at 10% rate of return on their investments to generate 24,000 in profit. Does that make sense? So all you have to do is add a 0 to these figures and put that figure in there. So Bill and Mary here will add a 0. To be financially independent, they have $480,000. By 10% will equal that. Here they would need 1.2 million. And here they would need 3.5 million. They've just added a 0. So quickly add a 0 down there. The only one you don't add a 0 is to this, because we've already worked that out. Who's confused? Okay, we're doing better now. We're getting a few more confused. That's great. Just put your hand up, someone will come around to you. I'll go through it again. Okay? What we're going to assume is you're going to get a 10% rate of return. Therefore, these figures here are annual income off your investments. We need to figure out how much you need invested at 10% to get that. To work that out, you just add a 0, times it by 10. And you get a figure. Bill and Mary have $240,000 they would need in assets, a 10% rate of return to equal $24,000 a year. Does that make sense? Now, some of you will say, Jamie, 10% is way too aggressive for me. I want a much more conservative plan. You might say 5%. Who would be happy with 5%? Anyone in the room? 5%? More conservative, always a good idea. So to work out 5%, just double these figures. So 5% would be double that. Instead of 240,000, it would be double at that level. That way you're basing your plan on only 5% rate of return, which you can get quite easily because you can just put it in the bank and get that. Okay, you wouldn't have to do any investing. You'd still get 5%. Okay? Just put your hand up if you have any individual questions. Someone will come around to you. So Bill and Mary worked this out. Question 4 is write down the amount is actually needed to be financially secure. Is this figure higher or lower than the one they wrote? Bill and Mary thought they'd need $5 million in lotto to be financially secure. They look at the real figure. How much do Bill and Mary need, lump sum, to be financially secure? $240,000. They wouldn't even need to win lotto. They'd only need $240,000, invest at 10% rate of return, and they'd be financially secure for the rest of their life if they structured the right way. So for Bill and Mary, it's a lot less than they thought. They thought they need millions and millions of dollars, like most people do. Therefore, their ego goes, well, it's never going to happen, so why even bother? Just stay where I'm at. Does that make sense? But if we can change that and you realize that to be financially independent, you don't need that much money. You just have to be smart with what you're doing. Then it's possible, it's real for the average person to do it. Then instead of saying, well, I don't have to, nothing's going to work, I'm just going to stay where I'm at, you say, I need to take action, so if I can take action, I can make it happen. Do you see the mindset difference there? That's why we're looking at this, okay? Because most people think they need more money than they need. So raise your hand if you found, when you did those figures, who found that the figure they've come up with that they need to be financially secure is actually less than what they had originally guessed. Who found that? Okay, look around. Most people in the room. Okay, anyone find it was the opposite? In other words, the figure they come up with originally was actually lower than what their new figure is. Did anyone find that? A couple of people. Okay, you probably did a really low guess. And raise your hand if you have no idea what I'm talking about. A couple of people. Okay. Doesn't matter, we'll catch up next Monday. You'll catch up on it. Okay, it'll come to you while you sleep tonight. If we get to sleep. So, is that making sense? It's, for some of you, it'll be very simplistic, but that's all wealth is anyhow, having the targets. And now all we have to do is figure out how to fill up that bucket. Okay, at least you know where you're heading. You've got the concept. Review your notes and adjust your numbers throughout the break if you need to, or consult your spouse if you need some help with that. Okay, and number 5, before we go on that, where are you today? So, where are you in your wealth bucket today? So for what I had to do when I did this plan is I had to draw some holes in my bucket because my bucket went this way as well, okay? So I was negative down this way. My bucket was, the wealth wasn't building, it was dissipating rapidly. Okay, so first thing I'd do is plug up some holes, and we'll go through some things like that, I think, on Sunday morning as far as debt reduction and stuff like that. How do you plug up the hole, but how do you create wealth even if you don't have any money? Okay, so everyone's in the game, and that gets a lot of fun. Okay, because if you're really smart with money, see, let me give you a quick example of that. There was a client recently, and I'm not going to mention any names, but she was in a situation where she wanted to learn this stuff, but she was highly skeptical, and she took a trial of one of our home study packages. And she phoned up, she thought she would cancel it, she didn't think it would work. And she hadn't actually watched anything. And she spoke to one of our team members. And got into conversation, one of the team members is actually financially free, doesn't have to work because they apply the strategies, and she's only, I forget how old she is, in her 20s. And she was sharing her story, how she learnt this strategy at the academy, etc., and she did them, and now she works at the academy because she loves to be a part of something, and she doesn't need to work for money, she just does something that she loves to be a part of. And this person on the other end of the phone is like, do you mean this strategies actually work? She's like, yeah. I was like, they actually work. She's like, she starts going, well, I've got $900,000. I've just been divorced. Do you think I could perhaps do something, I'd be able to retire on that? Our team member's doing some sums. She's going on the return that she's getting on, some renting share strategy and things like that. She's going, being fairly conservative, you're doing some of the strategies and the rate that I'm getting personally right now. I mean, I can't advise you, but just to give you an idea, that sort of money could generate you with just one of the strategies that you didn't bother to watch on the video, $64,000 a month. And she's like, $64,000 a month? And she started going, well, actually, kids are fairly expensive these days, and, I guess I would need a fair bit of money, but, well more than we should ever need. She could be so conservative in her strategy that she could just put the money in the bank and retire. 5%, there's nearly $50,000 a year. She'd have to do nothing. But the mindset's fear is there, okay? So now if she has the courage to follow through, she'll be set for life rather quickly. So, well, that's easy for her. She's got 900,000. Give me 900,000 and I'll damn well do the strategies. However, who's going to become wealthier quicker? A person in that situation but has a lot of fear, or someone starting at zero or is in debt but has the right mindset, the right attitude, and is willing to take action? Who's going to get there first? Person that can be zero or in a lot of debt, but they've got the mindset and they're committed. They're going to retire sooner. Because wealth, some people think, I just want enough money so then I'll feel secure. The security doesn't come from the money. If you don't learn how to become secure and certain within yourself, and some things will teach you how to do that, what will happen if you become wealthy, you'll become even more insecure because you'll think someone's going to take your money. You'll be in fear of loss. Who knows some people this has happened to? That's not real wealth. A lot of people live in fear of losing it. And I've had to develop the tools, and I'm lucky the emotional and tools will go through emotional intelligence, that I know I could lose everything. And I won't say it wouldn't bother me, it would upset me a little bit. But I'd say it's only money, and be in a position to be able to create that from nothing. Because once you learn how to invest and stuff, you can make money from nothing. And that's a skill. And that gives you real certainty, because that's real wealth. Because you have the knowledge and the ability to recreate something, so you don't have to live in fear of losing it. Okay? And also you can protect yourself so that it's very difficult to lose it. Okay? Does it make sense to everyone? That's the goal that we're going to look at. So if you turn the page, we'll just wrap up on this. There's a few things there that you can read later. You can read all that later. Some notes for you. Okay, everyone stand up quickly. I think it's time for lunch. What do you think? About time, Jamie.